What's up, everybody? We're going to get right into this video.
John, I want to come to you about something that you stated, which is that you believe that Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent.
I believe that he was an Israeli access agent. You know, if a foreign intelligence agency wants information from very highly placed sources or from very important sources, they're not going to be able to recruit those sources directly. So you recruit somebody who has access to those sources. And I think that that's most likely what Jeffrey Epstein was.
Okay,
Look,
Alan, you knew Jeffrey Epstein.
I was in Israel writing a book, and one day Jeffrey Epstein called me. I was his lawyer, and he said, "I've never been to Israel. I'd like to come there and meet some people. Can you get a lunch together for me with 6 of Israel's smartest people?" And so I arranged a lunch in the Tel Aviv hotel at which the president of the Supreme Court, the dean of this, the dean of that, he didn't know any Israelis. He absolutely didn't know anybody. I took him on a trip to the Shuk. We bought a couple of souvenirs. He got on the plane that night. He knew I had Barack afterward. As a matter of, they did business together, but not when he was the prime minister at all. And the idea that the Mossad would retain somebody like Epstein is just preposterous. Epstein was what he is, but he was not a Mossad agent. And the idea is so conspiratorial and so absurd. It just focuses on, because Epstein is famous and infamous, oh, Israel must have something to do because it's Jewish. At bottom, it's a core anti-Semitic notion. If you're Jewish,
nonsense.
You must have some connection with Israel, and you must be doing bad things, and you must be a spy for Israel. It is so preposterous, so absurd. Epstein was many things, but he was not
on the contrary,
a member of Mossad.
If I were a Mossad officer, I would have targeted him from my first day on the job because he had access to important people. You would have been fired then. You would have been absolutely
fired.
Not. Important people with important information.
You are dealing with fake information.
Well, let's go to somebody who may know the answer for sure. Danny,
yeah.
Yes, talk to us about Jeffrey Epstein.
Remember, I reiterate what I said some 15 minutes ago. Since the Pollard affair, we do not dare to do anything related to espionage in the United States of America.
Weren't you the guy that tapped Bill Clinton's phone?
I know Clinton very well because I met him, the President Clinton, because I met him a lot of times when I was the chief of staff of Barack and participated in all the rounds of talks with the Syrians, Palestinians, Jordanians, and the Americans. I was part of the group. Being in Camp David, I know him very, very well. I appreciate very, very well President Clinton, and I think that he, as all the other presidents as well, assisted essentially the state of Israel. You have to understand, we are a small country. We are surrounded by enemies till now. All the terror organizations are with the aim to kill as many Israelis and as many Americans, by the way, as possible. The Iranians call us the little Satan, and they call the big Satan. So we need to have very good and professional intelligence apparatuses.
Okay, but Danny, let me ask you. Danny, let me ask you something. Danny, let me just jump in.
Yes.
Danny, let me ask you something. As a former head of Mossad, if Jeffrey Epstein had been working with Mossad, would you even tell us?
No.
Would you admit it?
Well,
exactly. So how do we know?
As I understand, as far as you have to believe. How do you know that there is God?
You just said you wouldn't tell me.
If you believe, God exists. Yeah? It is a question of belief. Either you believe me or not.
You just told me you wouldn't tell me if he had.
I didn't.
He was dating Robert.
Speaking of Bill,
I did not meet Jeffrey Epstein ever.
Yeah.
I know him.
Yeah.
I don't know him. Sorry, I don't know him. I don't think,
Okay,
and this is my assessment.
let me give
I
you a
don't
fact.
think
Let me
that
give you a
worked
fact.
with
Okay, let me
Mossad,
ask Alan.
because it was a stipulated.
Okay, we're
Let me
talking
give
over
you
each
a
other
fact.
again.
I'm going to make.
Hang on,
I'm gonna make
please.
news.
Everyone's talking again.
I'm gonna
Hang on,
make news.
Alan. Let me ask you a Alan. Let me ask you a question. Alan, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked with Mossad?
Yes, I represented Mossad to help get 2 people out of Cyprus. I did it pro bono, and I got this letter from the head of the Mossad thanking me for doing it. Let me tell you another thing. I was Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer. I know everything about him. If he had worked for the Mossad, he would have told me that. And I would have used it as a way of trying to reduce his sentence. He didn't tell me that. He told me nothing like that. So there's no way in which he worked for the Mossad and didn't tell me that he worked for the Mossad, because I could have used that to get him an even shorter sentence than the one he got. There is no possibility that he did that. Of course, I'm so proud of the fact that I helped to get 2 people out. Let me tell you what happened. They were arrested by Cyprus on the theory that they were working as spies for Turkey. Those were the days when Turkey was close to Israel. I was able to prove that, in fact, they were there in order to prevent an attack from terrorists on Israeli people who were coming as tourists and sailing their boats there. As soon as I was able to persuade the Cypriot authorities that that was the case, they freed them, and that was a wonderful moment. They came home in time for Rosh Hashanah, for the Jewish holiday, and I got this wonderful letter from the head of the Mossad saying, thank you, I hope someday we will no longer have the profession I need to have. That's the attitude of Israelis. We wish, everybody wishes there wouldn't be war, there wouldn't be fighting. Remember what Bill Clinton said. They offered the Palestinians at Camp David 96% plus 4% of Israel plus all of Gaza, and Arafat walked away and started the Intifada. It's all the Palestinian leadership fault. No fault on the part of Israel. Ask Bill Clinton. He'll tell you the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, but we're moving away from Mossad. I want to just ask Danny before we conclude this. Danny, the Mossad has done some extraordinary things. You know, the way it tracked down the Nazi Adolf Eichmann in 1960 down to Argentina and brought him to trial in Israel was seen as a landmark.
All right, man. So, look, guys, the reality is Jeffrey Epstein ran one of the largest massive blackmail operations of politicians and celebrities, more than likely for the CIA, which technically means, you know, the Mossad as well, right? Because they're so closely aligned with each other. They found like strange things. They had a picture, he had a painting depicting Clinton in a dress, Bush crashing the Twin Towers, you know, weird stuff that occurred beforehand, that occurred after the fact. They found that he had some of these things at the Epstein's Island, guys. This is all documented. You can go look this up all over the internet. The Twin Towers crash. That was a whole plot. You know, we know who was behind it. But yeah, so this guy was definitely an asset for some type of intelligence agency, whether it be the CIA or the Mossad. I believe they work hand in hand. But yeah, I mean, the fact that they want to deny any role in that is ridiculous, man. It's a lie. It's a lie. All right, guys. Anyways, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Peace.